Welcome, everybody, to the Rob and Mike Show. I am Rob.
And I'm Mike. Welcome.
We are honored today to have as our guest Jill Harinda Patton. Jill is the founder and the executive director of a nonprofit called Mission Empower. And so we're just going to jump in here, Jill. What is Mission Empower, and why did you see a need for this?
Yeah, thanks, Rob and Mike, for having me. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
Yeah, so Mission Empower, we just had our 15th anniversary last December, and in the early 2000s, there really wasn't another organization advocating for youth with disabilities to be included at school, in the community, as their main mission. And so parents and advocates came together and we formed Mission Empower, and we were all volunteers back then, and now we are a federally funded community parent resource center. There's only 25 of us across the country.
Wow.
So the money that funds us, thank you, it comes from the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. That's the law that, yes, idea.
Okay.
That's the law that promotes special ed, and Congress knew that parents were at a disadvantage. They wouldn't understand the system, they'd be overwhelmed. So they created some funding for community parent resource centers like us and other parent centers that, such as the Peel Center that cover the whole state of Pennsylvania. So what we do is we support families to understand their rights, responsibilities, how to collaborate more fully with their school district to get the best services, the best outcomes for their child.
Awesome. So now, do you have a bricks and mortar building?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
That's here in Erie.
Yes. Actually, we're downtown at 1611 Peach Street in the professional building.
Okay.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay. Jill, what is the age range that you work with?
Yeah. So we work with families who have kids from birth all the way to young adulthood, age 26.
Oh, wow. I didn't know it was that wide a range.
Oh, yeah.
That's cool.
Well, that's perfect. I was telling Rob earlier, I thought for some reason, it was always younger kids.
Oh.
That's what I thought, too. I didn't know it went
Well,
that.
the one thing I want to bring up here, and I want to talk to you about this, but also talk to anybody out there who's listening to this.
Mm-hmm.
One of the core services that a Center for Independent Living provides is transition services. So students who are leaving high school, going into post-secondary education or into the real world, and what resources are there for them. So, one thing I'd like to connect with you on maybe someday is maybe getting a handoff from some of the students who still need
definitely.
resources
Sure.
that we might be able to provide.
Yeah,
And we can, they're kind of aging out of yours, and we can, bring them in to
For
start
sure.
getting involved in some activities and some services that we provide, home and community-based services, and anything that we may need to
Peer support
remain
or
independent.
whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
And right now, what we find here is what I've noticed here is that a lot of our consumers are older.
Mm-hmm.
We really haven't gotten the youth movement, and I think that's important for the disability movement,
Oh, for
is
sure.
to get people who are younger a little bit more engaged with that kind of thing. So,
Definitely.
I'd like to keep that going, so maybe we can continue that conversation,
For
off
sure.
the books, or off the video.
Right.
Well, to that end, have you built any other bridges with other organizations in terms of transition and things like what? Like the
Yeah, so we have branched out. We are not just an advocacy program anymore. Our grant changed a little bit, and we had to provide more youth services. But we were already starting to do that. We call that Youth and Vision. And so we have trainings and opportunities for youth from 13 to graduation.
Wow.
And so they come together. They essentially are learning to advocate for themselves. And that's the biggest thing we found, that kids in high school are just not ready for adulthood. Sometimes they don't even know what their disability is.
That's true. No, that is
That's
true.
So they have to know how to ask for what they need from their employer. They're going to college. So that's like our big push for that program. And then we also have become a provider of pre-ETS programming. I don't know if you know that.
For OBR?
Yes,
Yeah.
through OBR. So we do job coaching, paid internships, and that we call that mission employment.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
And yes, and then we also realized that there was a really need for tutoring for kids with dyslexia. And so we started a tutoring program, and what do you think it's called? But Mission Read.
Mission Read. Mission
Yeah.
Read. That's okay. Well.
So we have quite the services, and You know, if someone doesn't fit in someone of ours, you know, we of course refer them to other people like NAMI. We like to partner with NAMI of Erie County, and I do always, you know, send people to the 2 centers for independent living here in Erie.
That's good.
Yeah, definitely.
We want more numbers, we want people to get involved, and especially now that we're coming out of, you know, hopefully coming out of COVID.
Oh, yeah.
And we want people to be getting out of their houses, getting,
Yes.
you know, I think, Rob, we brought this up at one time. Carl always says, we want to get people out of institutions because they're stuck in those 4 walls. But what's the difference if they're stuck in an institution or your house?
Yeah.
That's right.
Between 4 walls.
It's
So we want to provide
yeah.
opportunity. We want to give people a chance to get out, do things, and mingle, and have that peer support, the community integration that they might not otherwise have.
Yeah.
Jill, what is the biggest challenge or challenges that parents with kids with disabilities tend to face?
Oh, boy.
I know there's got to be more than one.
Yeah, there is a lot.
But what are the ones that that you seem most challenged by, or the organization faces that can be sticky or tough to deal with?
I think if a child has an invisible disability,
okay,
you know, autism or mental health, it's hard for the school or the community to understand that person may need accommodations, or, you know, why is he behaving that way? You know,
True.
Then discipline becomes involved, and it can become a mess. You know.
So do you get involved does anybody in your organization get involved in assisting students and or families with the students' IEPs?
Yes, yeah. So that's what we do. They'll come to us with a question or crisis more often than not, and we'll talk about, you know, what's going on and try to teach them about their IEP and how to advocate for things, how to change things in their IEP.
So do you sit in on the IEPs as well?
Yeah.
So
that's what I was wondering.
It's not just we give you advice on how to advocate. We actually go in to a meeting and say, okay, you're there with the regular education teacher, the special education teacher, the administrator, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
That's got to be comforting too, to know that there's somebody there, not just for moral support, but they can answer some questions that maybe, because it's intimidating.
Oh, for sure.
Dealing with school districts and all of that, I mean, it's hard, you know.
It really is.
You don't know what your rights are a lot of times. And it's funny, even in 2023, we have to deal with this invisible disabilities really aren't disabilities attitude. It's
you know,
crazy.
One of our recordings was about invisible disabilities. And I remember when I first got hurt, I used to get so angry. Before I get so angry when I pull up to a store and somebody would get out of their car and walk out.
Yeah.
And I had to, as I've gotten older and wiser, if that's happened, I've realized over the years there are people with disabilities that don't look like me.
That's right.
They're not walking.
That's right.
They are walking. They're not sitting in a wheelchair. So yeah, it's part of our job to educate people about that, you know, and let people know. And that's one of the reasons we do stuff like this and get out into the community and do talk to different organizations. So it's important.
Joe, you have disabilities yourself. It had to be intimidating at first to go out there and just start a nonprofit. That's not easy to do because there's a lot of things that you have to focus on and deal with, and the government and this and that. Did you ever think twice about doing it, thinking, you know, this is too hard, I don't want to deal with this?
Yeah, it is hard to create a nonprofit. So you have to have a lot of passion and drive, and just keep going and find people who have the answers when you need them. The local nonprofit partnership has been really helpful. And actually, actually, Rob, when you had your group, you know, you let us borrow your bylaws.
Oh, that's right. You did confiscate our bylaws. I remember that. Yeah, you pillaged and plundered my theater troupe, as I recall. Yeah. No, but it's good. I imagine you contacted a lawyer and all of that stuff, you know.
Oh yeah, we did. We had to incorporate and you know, apply for our nonprofit status. That was like filling out the worst tax form ever.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah. Well, the reason I bring this up is because, you know, and the three of us are well aware that people with disabilities are often intimidated to do things that the able-bodied
Yeah.
would do because they, low self-esteem, or they've been told, here's the things you can't do. Okay, here's the list. So that's why I bring that up. I think you're an inspiration to a lot of people.
Well,
No, I really do. I mean, it's definitely great work that you're doing. No question about it. Because I think kids with disabilities have sort of been forgotten about. Sort of, I mean, don't you agree?
Oh, definitely.
Okay. I do as well.
And that's what I really try to encourage the kids, dream big.
Sure.
It's okay to fail,
Yeah.
That's how you learn. And
I think that's one of the major tenets of the whole independent living philosophy.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to fail. Take risks.
Right.
It's your life.
Yeah.
It's your life. We talk about like people transitioning. So I'm just going to use nursing home as an example. If people want to go and then come out of a nursing home, live on their own, it's their option. They choose to do that. They're taking the risk to see if they're able to.
Sure.
There's nobody should say no. You can't do this.
Right. Exactly.
And there's been too much no, and with the disability community, and I think that it's the more you get out there and do things that most people aren't doing, you're promoting awareness just by what you're doing.
For sure.
And that's so important.
Definitely.
For sure.
And with COVID, it's really taught us that people can work at home now, and I think that's helped people with disabilities to be able to try new things and new careers and be able to stay and work at home. So
since you brought up COVID, how has that impacted Mission Empower's ability to work with kids and families?
Yeah, it was tough during the height of it.
Okay.
But what we found now is the kids are still behind, and there's not enough services to help them catch up. And there seems like there's a lot of mental health. Everyone, it's all the children, with or without a disability, are dealing with mental health. And there's just so much more harassment, bullying going on. It's awful. Sometimes the calls we get.
Yeah, it's incredible.
I feel like it went away and it's picked back up recently.
Right. Yeah, I feel that way too.
I remember there was a time when the whole bullying thing, probably within the last 20, 25 years, I think, kind of dipped, and there was a major acceptance. I do feel I've heard that there's been a major uptick in bullying recently.
There really has, and even elementary, it's sad.
Yeah.
And it can be draining, so we really have to concentrate on self-care, taking care of ourselves,
Sure.
so we don't get so overwhelmed with everyone else's concerns.
Right. There's so many facets of your life. You have to have good balance in everything.
You do. Yeah.
For sure.
What goals are you looking at, short-term and maybe long-term goals for Mission Empower?
Yeah, so we're expanding our Mission Read program to another center, not just our own location.
Good.
We're going to partner. I can't really announce it yet because we're still in conversation, but we really want to reach people who maybe don't have the ability to drive to our center. Reach them where they're at for their tutoring.
Okay.
We like to expand our youth mentoring program, Youth and Vision, get more kids involved. I'd like to take it to all over the county.
Okay.
Well, I think, I can't speak for the entire organization of CRI because I'm not the boss, but both of those ideas sound like, CRI could be a great spot to partner with, to have people.
Okay.
I think so too.
You're talking about, like you said, transportation, travel. You get people maybe from the Fairview, Girard area who are closer here. Mill Creek, this is part of Mill Creek, who are closer here. You can maybe make this a resource area. Well, we're looking at some different grants where we can make a resource room.
Nice.
And then we could, maybe, incorporate that into what we do. So both the reading and the mentoring, we're doing that mentoring thing. I think that's great. Like I said, let's bring more, I hesitate to say kids, more youth.
I know, right?
Bring more youth in there, kids. So.
Because youth, it's a bigger umbrella,
right?
Than just saying kids. Yeah.
Yeah.
How many clients do you serve approximately?
Oh, like in a year?
Well, I mean, overall, what is I don't know, 5,000, 10,000? I don't know.
Since our history, you mean? Or,
Yeah.
Oh boy, I don't know.
Well,
Probably like 5,000.
Okay.
Like average in a
Okay.
year is a couple hundred,
Probably like 400.
400, okay.
so you're always getting new clients all the time,
Oh,
I'm
yes.
assuming,
Yeah.
okay? All right.
Yeah, well, I get, like we were saying earlier, if I age out, at a certain point, people
Yes.
age out.
Yeah.
Or they go to advocate for themselves.
Right.
And now they no longer need what
Right.
you've given them the resource
Yes.
to
And that's what
Right.
become independent.
Yep.
Right.
Now they don't need to use you anymore.
And that's what it's all about.
That's really what
Yeah.
it means.
Big time.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, Jill, if people want to learn more about Mission Empower,
Mhm.
how do they contact you?
You can look us up on our website, missionempower.org, or you can look us up on Facebook or Instagram, or call our office at 814-825-0788.
All right, great.
And we hope to hear from you.
Okay.
Thank you very much. That was
Oh,
awesome.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Jill.
Thank
I have so many questions. I'm hoping other people have a lot of
Well,
questions.
yeah,
Want to
definitely.
contact you, so.
Okay.
That's great. Well, thank you again, Jill.
Yeah, thank
Thanks,
you.
Jill.
He's Rob.
And he's Mike.
Thank you for joining.
All right.
Have a great
See you
day.
next time with the Rob and Mike Show.
Absolutely.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Stop that.